the euro crisis is a very complex crisis because it's a sovereign debt crisis, it's a balance of payments crisis, it's a banking crisis, it's a competitiveness crisis, it's a structural defects in or being not an optimum currency area, so fundamental in that way too. But the fact is that we are very far from equilibrium. And when I say far from equilibrium, I actually have more than one in mind. I mean, very far from the Maastricht criteria. That's one way of putting it. But actually, it's very far from what I would call rational expectations equilibrium. And rational expectation equilibrium, which doesn't exist. It's a mirage, it's a creation of a flight of fancy almost, is when people's understanding of the situation actually corresponds to the situation. And right now, there's a tremendous gap. So this cognitive dissonance, I think, is creating a political dynamic which is going to destroy, unless it is somehow corrected, is going to destroy not only the euro, but certainly the Schengen Treaty won't survive, and the common market won't survive, and the European Union itself may end in acrimonious recrimination with worse conflicts between European states than before the creation of the European Union. So that's about as dismal a prospect as you could have. And I genuinely believe that that is where we are heading for. And that's why I am so concerned about this issue. So you first somehow have to get back to normal. In other words, you have to find invent some non-existent device that will get us back closer to the Maastricht criteria. We would have to reconsider the fiscal compact, because just as you could see at the time of the Maastricht Treaty that there are some defects, you can already see that the compact is flawed and needs to be modified. And yet, the authorities are refusing any modification, and they are perpetuating this destructive course of trying to preserve a set of rules that is clearly not workable. And that is the political dynamic that's driving the European Union into a catastrophe. And this happened because they transferred their seigniorage rights to the ECB. That's why they can't print their own money. And because they can't print their own money, there's a real danger that they would default. A sovereign that can print the money can't default, will never default, because maybe the currency will lose its value or some part of its value, but they can always print the money that's necessary to repay their debts, right? And that's what they can't do now, the members. And that's why you have this risk premium, which has added to their, and is accelerating their indebtedness and pushes them into a vicious circle.